In the spirit of trying to rein in my spending this year, I'm really trying to appreciate what I already have and to sit back and just admire my current designer bag collection. I want to appreciate that what I already have is greater than the sum of its parts, but that may have backfired. Hello and welcome to A Briefcase of Luxury, a place to discuss all things related to life, learning, and luxury. And as much as I've tried to build a well-rounded collection that works for my life and personal style, I do know I have my biases and preferences, and if I'm not careful, I'll have an entire collection of near identical bags that aren't going to be fully appreciated because each would be redundant. So that being said, my love for neutrals and browns is strong. I know, I get it, I accept it, I own it. I want to love color, I really do. Every time I wear a pop of color, I always get complimented because I honestly have a pretty boring style, and I have very few pieces of pops of color in my wardrobe, so maybe it's more of people being conditioned to me not wearing color, and so when I do, it creates a big cognitive conflict for them. I don't know. But yes, when I look at my bag collection in its entirety, I may have a disproportionate number of earth-toned neutral bags. So in this video, and in the spirit of shopping my own collection this year, I just thought it would be fun to go over my neutral bag collection to see if there are any blatant holes in it, if I'm missing any key pieces in any category that I can eventually justify adding to in the future. Now you can see where shopping from my collection is backfiring just a tad, because I already see a couple of gaps in my collection and I'm worried my little brain in there is already starting to justify filling in those gaps with several of my dream bags that I will talk about later on in this video. Now let's go ahead and get started from smallest to largest and see what we currently have, make an assessment, and see what would make sense to add in the future. So let's go ahead and start with the smallest category. So this is what I would consider to be my clutch/mini bag collection, and I have 5 neutral color bags in this category. So first up, I have this Louis Vuitton Epi-Leather Pochette Accessoire in the beautiful golden brown color. Now, I added a short little chain, this little gold chain. I just bought it off Amazon just to make it a more comfortable under the arm type shoulder bag, because if not, it is rather short. It's a super simple pouch with just one top zipper and an open compartment on the inside. And just FYI for size comparison, it is a tad smaller and thinner, really, if you look at it from the side, than the Louis Vuitton Monogram Pochette Accessoire, only because of how it's structured and designed, because there's really no width to the bag, if you can see, besides these little side panels that do add a tiny bit of width, but not much at all. So here you go, you can see on the inside there's no additional pouches, no additional zippers. It is a very small bag, but it fits my phone, it fits my keys, and my wallet, and a chapstick, and my hand sanitizer. So again, overall, for a tiny, tiny bag, it's enough for me for my daily minimum essentials. Next, we have my Chanel wallet on chain in beige caviar leather with a silver tone hardware. I don't think this bag needs any introduction on YouTube. Now, unlike the Louis Vuitton Epi-Leather Pochette I showed you earlier, there are zippered compartments on the inside of the Chanel wallet on chain. For instance, you have a front pouch, you have a zippered pocket, and another slot right here, as well as slots for cards, a back pocket. So obviously it's a lot more complex than the Louis Vuitton Epi-Leather Pochette. But overall, it's a small, dressy bag that's really versatile thanks to the chain strap and all the different ways that you can wear it. Next up, we have the Monsieur Gabriel Cloud Clutch in the color Biscotto in lambskin. So as you can see, it still has a strap, but it is tied onto the side and it is removable, and it has a magnetic closure on the top, and again, it's just a giant open cavern on the inside. There's no additional pockets or pouches or zippered compartments. I think this bag works great as both a clutch and a crossbody bag. If you want to use it as a clutch, just make sure not to overstuff it, which is really easy to do just because it is deceptively big on the inside. But if you overstuff it, it makes it really hard to grab onto either from the top or the bottom. I do usually wear this as a clutch, and I usually tuck these straps in. I don't normally remove them. When I need to be hands-free, it's really easy to then pull out the straps and use those. So it's a great bag, I love it. And obviously a fraction of the price of the Bottega Veneta clutch instead. Fourth is my Gucci bum bag in canvas with some brown leather accents and gold finish hardware. Now, it does have several zippered compartments, like one in the front, obviously the main zippered compartment, and one in the back as well. So you do have a little bit of organization to it, which is fantastic for a smaller bag. And I must admit, it's actually super classy for being a simple bum bag. So I normally put stuff like my hand sanitizer and my chapstick in that front smaller compartment here. And in the largest compartment, I usually put my keys and my wallet, and my phone actually fits in the back compartment. And again, it's a pretty thin bag, but again, it fits all of my essentials. And for being a bum bag, like I said, it really does, it's a very dressy looking bum bag, and I love that I can wear it with fancier outfits. Last but not least is my Bottega Veneta men's pouch slash clutch with the classic Intrecciato woven leather. I forget the color, but I think it's espresso, I believe. And it's huge, by the way, if you can't tell, compared to the size of my other mini bag. So I didn't know for sure if this was the category, but it technically is a clutch. And the strap is long enough for you to tuck it comfortably under your arms, which is how I typically wear it. And this definitely fits the most out of all the other bags in this category. Like, I can put the contents of a full-size purse in here, and it still doesn't look crazy. So I would say for this category, between the 5 bags I have, we have a pretty good variation of neutral colors, right? We got some warmer browns, some cooler beiges, dark to light colors. We have different strap options, from belt bags to crossbodies to clutches to shoulder bags. We also have a good spectrum of materials, right? We got canvas, we got calfskin, we got lambskin. And we also have variation with hardware, from gold to silver tone hardware to no hardware at all. So I would be very hard pressed to say I'm missing anything in this category in terms of shape and function. I feel like we have enough here to cover both dressy and more casual occasions. And so, pat on my own back for building a really good, solid mini bag slash clutch neutral collection. However, if you can think of anything I'm missing, please let me know. Next up, we have small, mid-sized bags. And okay, this category really surprised me because I figured this is where I would have the most bags, since this is the silhouette I find the most aesthetically pleasing. Yet surprisingly, I only have 2 neutral bags that fit in this category. I have my Longchamp Le Foulon crossbody bag and my Louis Vuitton Croisette bag in the damier azur print. And that's it. And between the two, I suppose you could argue that the Croisette bag works for, both casual and dressier occasions, while the Longchamp bag is purely a casual, everyday crossbody bag. In no universe could you dress this up. I guess maybe I could try to put a twilly on the side or something, and I'm not even sure if that will do the trick. Now, this Longchamp crossbody bag I've talked about in a lot of previous videos, including my full Longchamp collection video and my luxury dupe video, because the entire reason why I went with this bag was because it seemed more practical than the Hermes Evelyn TPM size, and obviously it's barely a fraction of the price. It's a very casual bag. I do, again, like the fact that you can zip it all the way up at the top, and I like the fact that the strap is leather and not canvas like the Evelyn TPM. But like I said, it's a very casual looking bag. It's great for travel, but there's absolutely no way you can dress this up. But out of the two, the Longchamp is definitely much more user-friendly than the Louis Vuitton Croisette bag. So with the Croisette bag, I am somewhat cognizant when I use it because of the vachetta leather strap and top handle, as well as the interior of the bag being a beautiful but extremely light color, extremely stainable fabric, but again, in this beautiful ballerina pink color. I don't have an insert for this because I don't want to lose real estate inside the bag. It's already not the largest bag, and if I'm reaching for this, chances are I do want to bring out a little more with me than if I was grabbing one of the smaller clutches that I showed earlier. But maybe I really should consider using an insert for this bag just to keep the inside in better condition. It is in excellent condition, but probably not pristine condition by this point. And plus, we are in the hand sani era, so I already see spots on the top handle from using hand sani all the time and not always being careful to wait for it to dry before I actually touch the handle. So maybe I should add a twilly to this one instead. And I can absolutely see this category being beefed up in the future. And unfortunately, I already have some bags in mind, and I will share those at the end of the video. But honestly, that's it. Just 2 bags in this category. That's crazy. So next up, I have my mid to large size bags. I have the Longchamp Le Foulon top handle bag, again in the brown color. It does have a zipper top, and it does come with a crossbody strap. On the inside, we do have a zippered compartment as well as just an open pocket as well. And then this here is the newest addition to the family. It is the Evelyn in the PM size from Hermes. I do have a liner inside. I'm actually using it right now, so it's got all of my stuff in it. And this is just the strap that I picked up from Etsy. And again, I love to use it as a shoulder bag. And then last but definitely not least, we have the Hermes Zip 31 Her bag. When I am using these bags, they're definitely not stuffed to max capacity. They're pretty empty, honestly, and they're pretty decently sized bags. Like, they will fit a lot. I do have bag inserts in both of the Hermes bags, and it does help with some organization when you're not carrying a ton of stuff. And you can argue that just looking at these, they are more casual in style, but I don't know in what scenario would I need to have a mid to large size bag that's dressier, you know? I also like that I at least have a choice between canvas and leather, and all of them come with a crossbody strap. 2 have top handles, and that's how I wear these bags 90% of the time, except when I need both hands, and it's easy to just make that transition and pull out the straps and use them. Again, I haven't had the Evelyn PM for long, and I've only used it a handful of times at the moment, and I haven't actually used it with the canvas strap that it originally comes with. I really do like the short shoulder strap that I bought on Etsy. It's just a vibe that I'm here for, and if you haven't seen the unboxing video about how I got the Evelyn from the boutique, I'll link it down below. And so I'm really happy with the types of bags I have in this category, and again, like I said, the size of this collection absolutely works for me. Next up, we have the work tote category. Now, I have 4 neutral bags in this category. I have my Mulberry Bayswater tote. Well, technically it's the backpack version of the Bayswater, but I purely use it as a top handle work tote. And then we also have a discontinued Longchamp leather tote, Longchamp City Le Pliage shopper tote, and the Louis Vuitton horizontal locket in the monogram canvas. I know for some of you this is excessive for a work tote category, but it works for me since I do go to work. I do bring a lot of things to work, including a laptop, iPad, books, papers, and I have to carry that stuff around all the time. And I also like being able to swap out my work bags every few weeks to give them a breather. And so I wouldn't change a thing. The problem is being tempted to add more to this category because I do use them daily. For instance, I would love to add a neutral colored Kelly 35 to this category, and I've seen a few on fashionphile recently that just had me drooling, like this tri-colored one. At one point earlier, they had one in better condition with gold hardware, so I can only assume someone is now a proud owner of that gorgeous bag, so congrats to you. I mean, having 3 different neutral color variations in one bag, that's my version of letting loose and just going crazy. I'd be in neutral color heaven. But I'm not kidding when I say if I wanted to expand my bag collection, I would have to build a new closet. And I am trying to be really strategic about what new bags I bring home in the future. And so at the end of the day, I do have enough work totes to comfortably rotate out, even though a Kelly 35 just sounds divine and financially justifiable. Okay, last but not least, I didn't want to forget extra large bags like travel totes, and the only one I have in a neutral color is my Gucci Weekender bag. I've been meaning to buy a strap for it, just haven't gotten around to it. I say it like I haven't had this bag for honestly maybe going on 15 years. On that note, I use this every single time we go on road trips. Not on the plane because I prefer to have an actual carry-on suitcase with rollers, but for road trips, this has been great. And so here's a testament to the Guccissima leather. I bought this from the boutique, again, years and years ago, and I know for a fact that it didn't cost more than about $800 when I bought this. I have a video where I talk about making the switch from Coach to Gucci back when I was young and broke, and I think this is actually my first or second Gucci bag ever, so please be sure to check out that video too. So I just currently have an old canvas strap from an old Coach work tote that I've been using instead, and I've just hooked it onto where the straps are, and it's been working great. So after looking at these 15 neutral bags I have in my collection and further breaking them down by category, then the only category I feel like I can even remotely justify adding to is my small mid-size crossbody collection. So clearly this is not a matter of need, right? I don't need more neutral bags, but a girl can dream. And so if I were to fantasize about what my future neutral bag collection could look like, then there are 3 bags in particular that I would love to add to round out my collection entirely. And honestly, that would have to be it. And we will have to start building a new closet. So 2 of these bags I've mentioned before in a previous video, and the other probably just wouldn't be surprised. And so here they are in no particular order. So first up would be the Lady Dior in the size small in either the colors like hazelnut, sand, or beige. Now I've always loved the Lady Dior, but from afar, I really didn't have aspirations for personally owning one just because I'm not a super classy person, and even though I love the silhouette of the bag, I can count on one hand how many times I would have a fancy event to go to where I could actually use it. It really wasn't until the last year or so that I really started to seriously consider it, especially the size small with that thicker leather strap. I think it balances out how feminine and dressy the rest of the bag looks. And I can see how it could be really cute just as a daytime bag where you are dressed casual but you do want to feel a tiny bit fancy. And I think a nice neutral color would make it more daytime appropriate as well, even though I think it's so iconic and gorgeous in black as well. The second bag that I would consider adding is the Fendi Peekaboo in the size mini, either in the color beige or brown. So the Fendi Peekaboo is one I keep trying on at the store and I keep walking away from it. I think mentally, I know it's very similar to the NYX bag I'm about to mention, and so it may be repetitive, but I think once I start talking about the specific specs of the NYX bag that I would like, maybe it will sound more justified. Plus, I really like how low-key the Peekaboo looks. The last but definitely not least is an Hermes Kelly in the size 25 or 28. I'm putting this out there now. It's not a matter of maybe, it's a matter of when I add it, to be clear. This is going to be added to my collection at some point, whether this year, next year, or in 5 years, in 10 years. Now, I've gone back and forth on the exact specs, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about a dream bag that I would like to add, and I do only want to add dream bags from now on, it would have to be the Kelly 25 or 28 in the Barenia leather in fauve. I have considered the Bolide in the Barenia leather as well, but if I were to only add one more bag from Hermes to my collection, it would hands down have to be the Kelly. I just love the idea of a Kelly that is more casual and down to earth, and I think it's gorgeous. I know it can be finicky, but it will patina, it will scratch, it will age, but knowing that it's Barenia and it will look and feel lived in, I'm okay with that. I think that actually makes the bag that much more exciting, especially if I do end up getting the Lady Dior or the Fendi Peekaboo. They would be able to fill the gap of the more elevated, dressier, small crossbody, which would leave room for a Kelly 25 or 28 in the Barenia leather. Yes, as much as a Kelly 35 would be amazing as well, especially since the prices for the 35 on the pre-loved market is at least under retail, right? And sometimes quite significantly. If I were to purely go off of price, then the Kelly 35 would seem like such a great option. My concern is I know I'll still have a pull towards having a Kelly in a smaller size, and I don't really want to have more than one in my collection at the moment. When it comes to the Barenia version, I just have to wait to see when it happens because Lord knows I ain't trying to buy this bag on the pre-loved market. It's absolutely ridiculous. Surprisingly, Fashionphile right now has this beautiful 24 in the size 29 made in the Barenia leather, and it's for under retail. I am extremely tempted, so someone please come get this off Fashionphile before I make poor life choices. Now, there's a small part of me that wants to add color, but I'm not exactly sure how at the moment. For instance, earlier this week, I was doing what I always do and need to do less of, honestly. I was browsing the Hermes website when I needed a break from work, and I saw this beautiful Constance to-go wallet in blue Hydra, and it's such a stunning pop of blue. I actually managed to successfully add it to my cart, and for a minute, I just sat there and stared at the screen trying to decide what my next move would be. On one hand, I could rationalize that a pop of color in a small bag makes sense, right? And by the way, this was the first time I was successfully able to add any of the to-go wallets to my cart. And Lord knows I've tried plenty of times in the past. So once that excitement wore off, I just had to have a big girl conversation with myself about whether I should proceed to checkout or delete from cart, because I do prefer the Kelly to go since it's less in your face, and two, the pop of color makes it doubly in your face along with that giant H logo in that bright blue. And so at the end of the day, I just simply wasn't ready to spend that much on a pop of color because I'm honestly still trying to figure out how I want to incorporate color and what colors would work best for me. My fear is just not getting the use out of it to justify that purchase. But once I figure that out, I'll let you know. So if you ever find yourself itching to shop, take a moment to shop from your collection first. No, like really shop from your collection, appreciate and be grateful for each item. Inventory what you have by color, by category, and depending on what's the itch you're trying to scratch, you may realize you already have something that serves the same purpose, or you may actually identify actual gaps where a new purchase actually does make sense. And that's exciting because now you get to make plans for how you want to fill that gap, while of course being financially responsible at the same time. So what do you think? Let me know if you have any other suggestions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for shopping my collection with me.